Okay, it is now 5:31. We're going to call the Round Rock Independent School District Board of Trustees regular board meeting to order. Before we start, the rule of the meeting tonight, based on the administration's rules, is the number of seats in here or the number of seats. You are not allowed to bring your own seat. You're not allowed to sit on the floor. I'm going to give you one warning, and then we will have to escort you out.
The administration's rules were posted on the doors leading into the room. These signs and these rules had been in place for the 3 meetings before the September 14th meeting, due to a third spike in COVID cases as the Delta variant began to spread in both Williamson and Travis counties where Round Rock ISD community members reside.
Okay, I'd like to appeal the decision of the chair and call for a vote on the seating restrictions in here.
I'll second that appeal.
Doug?
So this is an administrative rule, and it's not a board action. It's not on the agenda. So ultimately, this is an administrative rule that your administration is enforcing, and you as a board can proceed accordingly.
Can we see the rule as the board, please? I'd like to see the rule. Where is it written? Please direct me.
Madam President, this is not on the agenda.
It is not on the agenda.
We should move on to the meeting.
We do need to move on.
No, it's in the law, June.
I will tell you that
I move to begin the meeting.
Okay.
In this clip, you heard Danielle Weston attempting to appeal the decision to enforce the school district administration's rules, and Mary Bone seconds the motion to appeal. Doug Ponek, of the Escamilla Ponek Law Firm, is a member of the district's legal counsel. Mr. Ponek studied law at both Harvard University and the University of Michigan, and he has been a lawyer for 30 years. Escamilla Ponek focuses primarily on government and general civil practice. Doug correctly establishes that the rule is not on the agenda for discussion, and that the board president, Amy Weir, may continue to run the meeting in accordance with the rule. The Texas Open Meetings Act requires that the agenda of items to be deliberated by the board during a meeting be publicly posted 72 hours prior to a meeting, so that the public is made aware in case they want to comment. Discussions of non-agenda items are a clear violation of Section 551.042 of the Texas Open Meetings Act. Ironically, it is the Texas Open Meetings Act that trustees Bone and Weston are citing in their argument regarding the number of seats in the room. The Texas Open Meetings Act does not include any requirements regarding seating, but, as I said before, it does have requirements regarding what is discussed during the meeting.
Okay. The State Penal Code, Section 3813, hindering proceedings by disorderly conduct. State Penal Code 4205, disrupting meetings or procession. Let me tell you, you get one warning to abide by the rules of the administration for this meeting.
Right, and law enforcement cannot be used to enforce school district policy, correct?
They can be used to enforce the Texas Penal Code.
Board President Weir is correct in citing State Penal Codes 38.13 and 42.05. Danielle Weston tries to clarify that district police officers cannot enforce district policy. While it is true that the district's police officers cannot enforce district rules, the refusal by any member of the audience to adhere to the district's rules is a disruption to the meeting, which would be a violation of the penal code cited. Weir is correct that district officers can legally remove people from the room for violating said penal code.
All right, we're going to move on, so I will ask the officers to go ahead. The chairs that the administration set up are the only chairs for this room.
I appeal that decision from the chair because the chair is making that decision. That is not a decision from the... So I appeal that decision.
I second that appeal.
So I think you've instructed your law enforcement to escort folks who are being disruptive. If you wish to do so, you can continue to do so.
Okay. Yes, Officer Wilby, if you can please assist in...
I appeal this decision from the chair. I appeal this decision from the chair.
I second that. Put it to a vote, please, Madam Chairman.
Yes, please let's use Robert's Rules of Order.
I've not ever done an appeal.
Again, this is not a parliamentary procedure issue. It's basically enforcing the administrative rule that's in place. So if you wish to ask your law enforcement to enforce the rule for the meeting, you are allowed to do so, and you don't have to vote.
Madam President, who is enforcing this?
Doug advises that Amy Weir is right and can use the district's police officers to remove people from the meeting if they are being disruptive by refusing to adhere to the district's rules. Trustees Bone and Weston request a vote on the matter, which, again, is not on the agenda. To answer Bone's question, it is the school district's administration that is enforcing the policy.
And my understanding is that on September 1st, the restrictions on the Texas Open Meetings Act were lifted. Is that correct, Mr. Ponek, that the governor has been very clear that the restrictions that bodies like ours at one time were able to impose have been lifted as of September 1st?
Well, with regard to how you conduct your board meetings and whether you can attend remotely, yes, that's changed. But with regard to a school district's ability to provide for the health and safety of its visitors, its students, its staff, that has not been altered by that order.
Here is where we learn what all of the fuss is about. Remember, the seating was this way for 3 meetings prior to this meeting and nobody said a thing. In March of 2020, AG Ken Paxton and Governor Greg Abbott suspended certain provisions of the Texas Open Meetings Act due to COVID. On September 1, 2021, the suspensions of those provisions expired and the Texas Open Meetings Act requirements went back into full effect. The issue here is that Danielle Weston, Mary Bone, and the upset community members in the hallway are misinformed about what the expiration of the suspensions means. Doug clarifies that the suspensions were only related to being able to hold a public meeting via videoconference or teleconference. Remember, Doug is a Harvard-educated lawyer with decades of experience. That said, it doesn't take a lawyer to see that Weston, Bone, and crew are mistaken, just by simply reading the list of suspended provisions posted on AG Paxton's website.
Yes, and all we're asking for, Doug, is where are those rules written? We can't make up rules.
There were no rules. This is a decision I made, and we had this set up for like several meetings now. This is not the first time we had a meeting like this. Now, we can reconsider for the next meeting. I have no problem looking at it again, but this is something we had set up for, I guess, for at least 3 to 4 board meetings since, I think, July.
We're asking you to reconsider right now.
Yes. What is the downside of allowing?
Okay,
Okay, this is not an agenda. Okay, today is going to be a long meeting.
No, June,
So
this
we
is
should
Open
start.
Meetings Act.
No, this is not
They
on
have the
agenda.
right to
This
come
is
into the
not on
meeting.
agenda.
trustees, please. It is now 5:35. We do need to start this meeting.
The superintendent misspeaks here when he says that the rules are not written. They are on the sign on the door as we saw before. Mary Bone and Danielle Weston are again attempting to deliberate on a matter that is not on the agenda, further disrupting the meeting and actually violating the Texas Open Meetings Act.
This is your last warning. I'm going to ask, please, nicely.
Who is making this warning? I appeal this decision. If President Weir is making the decision, she is the chair, Doug, and I am appealing the decision to have people removed from this meeting.
If you want to appeal to the appropriate authority after the meeting, okay?
No,
Let's
June,
start
I
the
have the
meeting.
right to
No,
appeal right now.
No. Let's start
Okay,
the
can we
Okay.
put this to a vote so we can move on with the
All right,
meeting?
Thank
all
you.
those in favor of enforcing the administration rule of seating in this meeting tonight, raise your hand, please. All those opposed? All right, it passes 5-2. Officer Willoughby, can we please have those that are without?
Next door. If this is a rule of capacity and COVID safety, that there's a big super spreader.
Can we please remove those that are not in the chairs set up by the administration?
Mary Bone continues to push deliberation on a non-agenda item. Dr. Zhao and Tiffany Harrison speak up, trying to move the meeting along. The board votes on enforcing the rules to appease the 2 disruptive, misinformed trustees. The vote passes 5-2. From the audience, you hear a man speaking loudly and disrupting the meeting. That man is Dustin Clark, who was later arrested at his house for being disruptive in this meeting, specifically Texas Penal Code 38.13, which Amy Weir cited earlier in the meeting. This was not the only instance of Dustin Clark being disruptive in the meeting, ignoring the warnings given to him and ignoring the law.
No, we will not be removed. Unless you're going to apply the same to those children next door. There's a bigger super spreader event next door.
They are not being unruly by sitting in chairs. This is ridiculous. We are out of control on this board.
At this point, they're disrupting the meeting because it's 7 minutes since the meeting
They're being
was supposed
disrupted
to
because
stop.
President Weir is asking them to leave for sitting in chairs.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. We need to
Okay.
get ourselves in check.
We do have to get ourselves in check, Trustee Bone. Stop.
Let's start the meeting.
We have to be able to start this meeting, and there is a disruption of the meeting going on outside, going on in here by people yelling at us.
Yes, the chair is also being disruptive.
We put this to a vote. We used Rules of Order, and we voted.
It is time for us to move on, and
The Texas Open Meetings Act is not in violation. We just heard from our counsel. We follow our counsel.
Trustee Harrison,
And what
there's
you're
no
doing
need-
right now is out of order, and you could be removed for arguing with me like that in
Yeah,
the middle of the
Trustee
meeting.
Harrison, you're talking to the audience, so you have to ignore them. You can't talk to them and not expect them to talk to
Trustee
you back.
Bone, you're being disruptive. Some of us care about what we need to talk about tonight.
Yeah,
This
some of us
is
care about the
not
public
on
and the
agenda.
students.
I do care about the public and the students, and would
There
like
was
to
a
move
student
forward.
crying out there. Nobody seemed to care.
Please, can we do whatever we need to do to handle this?
Yeah, can we just let
Weir.
the people that are in here stay in here and start the meeting?
We are going to start the meeting, but I do want, when the officer comes back, Dr. Presley, if we can, go ahead and clear while we're going to do the pledge.
Even after a vote was taken, Mary Bone refuses to be cooperative and continues to disrupt the meeting. What this ultimately boils down to is a bunch of people who think that they have a better understanding of the law than the lawyers at the Escamilla and Ponek law firm. Enforcing the school district's seating rules was completely legal and not against the Texas Open Meetings Act. Nobody was denied their right to speak publicly, and an overflow room, where the meeting could be observed by video, was provided to the public. The law is the law, and all who participated in disrupting this meeting are guilty of breaking the law, whether you agree with enforcement of the school district's policy or not. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for future videos exposing the lies that these disruptive trustees and community members have been spreading in the national media.